Let's talk some NFL draft as that is coming up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Pittsburgh. It's finally here after months and months of talking about it. And someone we had on maybe about a month ago, Emory Hunt, going to join us right now here on Westwood One Sports, owner of Football Game Plan, football analyst for CBS Sports and Sportsline. If you don't already follow him on X, make sure you do at FBall Game Plan. Emory, I know you've been talking about this for a year and prepping all this stuff for probably a year, so you're probably excited to get down to it this week as well. I want to get into the biggest story in the last 24 hours maybe or so, and that is, what did this workout do for Jordan Tyson yesterday? Did it do enough, in your opinion, to change anything here toward the top of the draft?
I just hope you're fully checked out medically. I hadn't been following the reports, but if he's checked out medically in terms of being what he has been, pre-injury, pre-hamstring, pre all of the injuries, I know you can't get it all back in one day, but if the hamstring is fine, that should solidify him going in the first round. He's my number one X receiver in his draft class. And the biggest concern was, how healthy he was, considering he was, in the last time we saw him play, he was leading them down the field on one leg against Texas Tech. And so we saw him do that rather well. So toughness unquestioned. So if he's fully healthy, ready to go, then you could book him in the first round. Now, post that, you have questions about, all of the other injuries, but at least for right now, he should be able to go in round one.
Emory, we were talking earlier about the team that we think is the biggest team that could potentially shake up the first round. And it's hard to do this without going back to the players themselves, of which players will be taken where. But of the teams, when you go down the order, obviously we know the Raiders are going Fernando Mendoza. But after that, then it's not so much of a sure thing. Which team do you think it will be for you that will kind of be the one to set that butterfly effect in motion for the rest of the first round?
I would probably say the New York Giants. Take a look at what the news have been coming out of Giants. Now, I was at, their pre-draft presser earlier in the week with Joe Shane, and he came out with the initial statement about things are good with Dexter Lawrence. So then after that, when you get home, you see all hell breaks loose in terms of there's no communication, all that stuff like that. So I don't know what to believe. But when we look at the Giants in that scope of where they are right now at pick 5, there's like 4 different camps that people are in. Some people are saying take Jeremiah Love. Some people are saying take Sonny Styles. Some people are saying take Caleb Downs. Some people are saying take Carnell Tate. So I feel like that's the inflection point of the draft. The Giants, whomever they choose, let's say they go running back. We may see a bevy of teams try to trade up to get, one of these players, try to trade with Cleveland because they pick 6. Or if you look at them going Carnell Tate, maybe that forces Cleveland to trade down. Maybe, so I think the Giants really hold the key to the draft, and that's why it's fascinating to see who they're going to pick, because you could legitimately make a case for at least 4 players in that spot. 5 if you want to include Francis Mauigoa.
Are you buying the noise around how active the trade market could be on draft night, just because we don't have 3 or 4 quarterbacks going in the first round, and normally, maybe even 3 of them in the top 10? It was Brett Veach, the general manager of the Chiefs, just a couple days ago, saying that he thinks fans are going to love it because we're going to see a bunch of trades. Now, I know it's smokescreen season, but do you buy into that? Do you think it's going to be active?
It could be, and I don't think it'll be active or as active, let's say, at the top. I think where we'll see most of the activity is, let's say, between picks 17 to 32. I think toward the back half of the first round is where we'll start to see a lot more moving and shaking, where guys going to get specific players and, maybe stockpiling some picks on day 2. We may see a team trade back into round 1 to get a quarterback. I know Ty Simpson been rumored to, be one of those, be that guy. If you're maybe the Jets or the Cardinals. So I can see pick 17 and 32 having a lot more movement than we would see picks 1 through 16.
Of the well, it was, I feel like, a 3-dog race going into the draft with Reese, Bailey, and Bain. I think obviously for, not necessarily the reasons that came out this week with the car accident news of Ruben Bain when he was in college, but more so for the short arms from the combine, which to me, I don't know how much you buy into it. I tend to just say, hey, let's go by the tape. Can the guy ball out? If he can, no matter the measurables. But teams love to dwell on those things. Between Reese, Bailey, and Bain, which do you think will we be talking about in 5 years' time as being the best edge rusher in this draft?
Probably Bain. I think Bain, Bailey, and then Reese, because Reese could be a little bit more of a hybrid role where he could be a good player, but may not be the transcendent player, right? And I think the other two have a clear line of being successful because they're straight just pass rushers. And I think that if you said either one of those two, Bailey or Bain, you'll be fine with that. I just find it fascinating, man. Like, we cover football during the football season, and then fly in February, folks come in, and now we all talk about arm length and height and weight.
Yeah, right.
Like, nothing to do with the actual game. And then after flyby season, fly-in season, we go back to the football, and then when it's week 8 or week 9, no one's talking about some vertical jump, hand size, arm length. Can do play, can do not play. So that's why I always laugh and chuckle and don't pay any mind to those that focus solely on these, metrics that can be easily proven or disproven when we're watching the actual games in what 17 or 18 weeks now of a college football season. So that's why it's fascinating to see how the conversation switches. It becomes important until it's not important, and then it becomes important again. So there's two separate schools of thought and people that if you're a fly-in person, then we're having two different conversations.
We're talking to Emory Hunt here, owner of Football Game Plan, joining us on Westwood One Sports, getting set for the NFL Draft Thursday night, round 1, of course, in Pittsburgh. Position-wise, I think last time we had you on, we focused a lot on the wide receivers. Understandably so. It's a fun position for everybody to kind of gravitate toward. What about running back? We know about Jeremiah Love. Everybody's well aware he's going to be the first running back off the board. Maybe as high as 4. We'll see, to Tennessee. What about the position in this draft? How is it as thin as everybody's kind of been making it out to be? Who's the next player or two after Love, and are there first-round talents out there?
Back on my soapbox, right? Because when folks that evaluate this talent, right? You talk to somebody that evaluates. I just released my draft guide that has over 1,200 individual scout reports in it. So when I hear fellow draft analysts say this is a weak class or a down class, I want to shake the life out of them because get your shovel and start digging. There's talent everywhere, right? So yes, Jeremiah Love is phenomenal. He would have been my RB1 last year, but you have a litany of case in point so far in this, well, not so far in the draft guide. I have over 146 running backs graded. So I see a lot of talent, obviously. Now, when you go from Jonah Coleman to Emmett Johnson to Jaden Ott, just ignore what he did at Oklahoma and go back to what he did at Cal and what he did at the Senior Bowl. It looks like a guy that could be a franchise guy. Jadarian Price, plays a lot like Chase Brown, who's with the Cincinnati Bengals. I look at someone like Mike Washington, kind of reminds me a lot of Amon Green in terms of the same size, same explosiveness, same speed, same fumbling issues that Green had. You look at all of these backs, you're like, man, they got a lot of good backs in this draft class. And I think this is a class where if you're not getting Jeremiah Love, and this is the nature of the position and how it has, transpired over the course of, let's say, 15 to 20 years, where gone is the anomaly of the Jeremiah Loves, and even him, he had a tail to his Sonic, right? So when you think about all of these backs that are talented, some may end up being foundational RB1s, but a lot of what you have in this class and many other classes are guys that can help bring you a very good RB tandem. That's why I love the depth of this class.
Emory Hunt, owner of Football Game Plan, is with us right now. And Emory, I believe I'm reading one of your mock drafts. You're a mock drafts guy, I have to imagine.
Absolutely
right?
not. Absolutely not. That's the only mock draft you see me put out is that one that you're reading right now.
Wait a minute. This is Yeah. No, this is look, Emory. I am so anti mock draft guy. I just gave a huge rant about it on this show. So you mean to tell me that literally the one I'm looking at is the only one like you do, and you kind of have to do it for work, right?
Well, I usually do too. They didn't want to do the second one this year because the only other one I do would be a small school only mock where it would be a first round mock of just small school players from FCS, D2, D3, NAIA prospects because that's the
Okay.
only one I feel like it's creative. Everyone else trying to play like they're inside,
Yeah.
but they're not, and so that's why I do one mock based on what I would do as a GM and let that ride.
Okay, and I'm assuming you only fill out one March Madness bracket too, right?
I don't even bother with that. I just look at the matchups and certain games I want to see. This is a game I want to watch.
Emery's like, I'm neck deep in NFL draft coverage at that point. I don't have time for college basketball. Brent Veach is talking all about trades or whatnot and all this. I feel like the team most likely to draft up would potentially be the Cowboys just to get a defensive guy in that top 10 for me. Am I wrong there, or do you think there's another team that's most likely to jump up into the top 10?
We understand the NFL and its draft is a TV product. No one better understands that than Jerry Jones. And if we go back to like week 11 or something in the NFL season on CBS Sports HQ, I approached the idea of, this is before a homeboy got on a run and really got it going. Javonte Williams. I was like, man, I would be hard pressed if I'm Jerry Jones to not try to trade to go and get Jeremiah Love, right? Because that would be the biggest star in the biggest, football area in the biggest football brand. But you're right. When you look at what they've done postseason in terms of the free agency market and acquiring talent on both sides of the ball, they have a chance to really go and get a guy. And anyone you want to put in there, if Bain is falling, Bain would make elite level sense for them. Just makes that defense even stronger, considering what they've added in free agency and with the trades they did late last season with Quentin Williams and company. And also, if they go get Caleb Downs, I know they brought in Jalen Thompson from Arizona, and they have Malik Hooker, who is another one of these guys that has ball skills, but Downs would give them a true quarterback of the defense. If Styles goes past the Giants, that would make sense. So I can see Dallas being a serious player to package both of those first round picks to go and move up and get a specific talent based on the work they've done in free agency.
Before we get you out of here, as we're talking with Emory Hunt, how about the tight end position? I know everybody focuses in on Sadiq, Kenyon Sadiq over at Oregon. Eli Stowers gets mentioned. Is it two tight ends you think going here in the first round? What's the drop off, I guess, look like at that position?
I think you see one tight end go later, and that would be Sadiq, because we like the idea of the tight end. Especially guys like Sadiq. We love the idea of this athletic tight end, but the league treats the tight end position as if it's an afterthought. Because you would have thought that all of these tight ends would have over 1,000 yards, but the league just rather feed the football to these receivers, and that's where the receiving production goes more so than the tight ends. And so for this draft class alone, I think we may only see one, and that's Kenyon Sadiq. But then after that, you have your Stowers, you have your Oscar Delps, you have all of these other tight ends that can go across the board and play really well. Your Eli Raridans and those cats. So it's another good group of tight ends. Just unfortunately, the league, we are higher in the media on tight ends than the actual NFL is in terms of how they utilize this guy. I think we still see the position how we saw the Jimmy Grahams, the Antonio Gates, the Rob Gronkowski's, the Tony Gonzalez, and they don't use tight ends like that no more, which is weird because there's some excellent H-back fluid flex tight ends out there on rosters right now collecting dust.
Emory Hunt at F-Ball Game Plan. Make sure you give him a follow leading up to the draft this Thursday night. Owner of Football Game Plan, also his work over at CBS Sports and Sportsline. Great to have you on again, man. Really do appreciate your work, and we are glad to hear you do one mock draft, not 20 of them.
Oh, listen, and plus, because I'm
yes.
the largest draft guide out there, over 1,200 individual scout reports, footballgameplan.com/2026 draft guide. That's where all the focus goes.
I love it.
There we go.
Great
Football
stuff.
Game
Great
Plan.
insight.